Section 5 of Narratives of Colored Americans. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Daria. Narratives of Colored Americans by Abigail Mott and M.S. Wood. Old Dinah. Dinah was a slave. Her mistress was an Indian woman, into whose dark mind not a single ray of gospel light had ever penetrated. She lived among a small tribe on the borders of Tennessee, and although at the age of 40, or a little over, she was called Old Dinah. The Indian mistress and all her servants had been baptized by a Roman priest, but why or wherefore none of them knew. Dinah said, in relating the circumstance, "I allus thought the white folks had something to tell that we did not know about, and I used to think what it could be. When the missionaries come here with the Bible, then I know what it is." Her veneration for the good book, as she always called it, was remarkable. Getting on a stool in her little cabin one day, I noticed on a shelf, far above the reach of her little ones, a pile of torn, dingy bits of paper. I said, "What have you here, Dinah?" "Oh, missus, don't mind them now. I picks 'em up when I come from the meeting. I s'pose the children throws 'em out of the schoolhouse, but I thinks it may be they are pieces of the good book, and when I learns to read, I can find 'em out." Dinah did learn to read. She had a family to provide for, and Saturday was the only day in the week allotted to her in which to look after her little patch of corn and potatoes, cook their food, and prepare her children for the Sabbath. The morning she gave to her farming in summer, then the washing and mending, and at night, after the children were washed and stowed away for sleep, she would take the youngest on her back, and, tired as she often was, trudge away 2 miles to the mission station. And favored indeed was the teacher who could get rid of the earnest appeal, "Let me learn just a little more," before the morning dawned. Every Sabbath morning a little time was spent in imparting to her Daniel the lesson of the previous evening, his master living in a village some miles distant, so that he could not secure any other instruction. But Daniel soon outran his teacher, and having a warm Christian heart, learned to expound as well as read the good book, much to the edification of his colored friends. This was also an unfailing source of comfort and grateful recollection to Dinah. Once, when listening to his fervent appeals, she said to me, while the big tears chased each other joyously down her cheeks, "Oh, missus, look at Daniel. I taught that man his ABC, and now he knows so much, and I can only pick out a little of the good book yet." In the preaching of the gospel she took great delight, and never but once, during our 9 or 10 months among that people, do I remember her being absent from our meetings on the Sabbath. It was in the female prayer meeting that Dinah was invaluable. Here all her tenderness of conscience, her desire for instruction, her delicacy and tact in eliciting it, not only for herself, but for the benefit of others whose spiritual wants she had made her study, and above all, her meek and earnest supplications, rendered her a helper never to be forgotten, and I loved her for the image of my Master shining in her face. End of section 5.